Part 2 of the supplement cast. Welcome back. We were fortunate enough to get that special guest I talked about before. This is Mr. Darnell Cox.
Morning.
He, very, very, very dear friend of mine. You know, we're going on 20 plus years. I've known this guy.
Yeah.
And after touching base with him just the other day, I realized that a lot of who I am as a professional fitness guy, I got from him. I mean, the infamous line I've given over the last decade and a half and regarding supplements, being supplements are not replacements, I got from him. And I didn't even realize it. It just kind of soaked in because that's the kind of guy, he's the guy who can build rapport almost immediately with nonverbal communication. So for those of you who are not in the sales business of any kind, the nonverbal communication is the moment you feel trust with the person, the rapport is built right away, and no words are spoken. So if it's a Tinder scenario, this is what you call love at first sight. There's no other way to put it. So now I'm not surprised that, being in the fitness industry for as long as he was, I mean, how long did we say?
94 to 2012.
I mean, damn.
It's about 16
I'm not
years.
surprised that now being with Remax, the kind of rapport that he's able to build with his client base in times like this, when we're talking about things a little more important than, a protein shake, but rather homes and places that people can build families in, tough decisions where there's no such thing as a return policy if you don't like it.
Yeah.
You can't just move into a crib and decide, hey, you know what, this it really isn't going to work for me. This is not a usable. There's no lemon laws and stuff like that. Okay. So they have to build trust. And he's arguably one of the best people I have ever known to build trust like that, to understand the climate of the situation and appropriately be able to give you the best advice regarding whatever it is you're trying to get done. So we're thankful to have you on today.
Appreciate that. Appreciate the kind words.
So the premise was the more things change, the more things stay the same. Is kind of what we've summarized here with the supplements and the fitness game, all in all. We said in the last cast that the research I did was the top in the last decade, the top 5 fitness supplements, not including pre-workout and fat burners and shit like that. We're talking about just the somewhat healthier stuff. Okay, where number 5 was BCAAs, right? Branched chain amino acids. Well, 4 was magnesium, fish oil. Number 3 was magnesium. Number 2 was whey protein. Number 1, creatine. And so from 94 until 2000 and what was it?
12.
Somebody with a weight loss goal of say 15 or more pounds, female, let's say I think that's a fair assessment to say most folks who come up with a weight loss goals are females. It is what it is. They would come into you, and at your supplement store, you worked at a GNC, you franchised. Did you franchise that?
No, I just worked at a GNC, managed that for several years. Then I broke off 2001 and opened my own store.
You had 2, right? I probably should do some background reck quick. So you worked at GNC for how long? Can you give us a quick what your story was?
Yeah. So GNC came in as assistant manager in 94, 95. After 2 years, my manager moved up to the SSM, the area manager, and I took over managing the store at that point. So about 97 to 2001. 2001, I left GNC, partnered with someone. We opened up our own nutrition store called Nutrition Outlet Center in Champaign, right there on the edge of the campus town. I was there for about 4 years. I had met a supplement producer for a company called ErgoPharm, and they were making high-end products at one of the top chemists in the country, Patrick Arnold. So I teamed up with them, and we opened up a nutrition store on one side of the building on South Neal, and the other side was iPower Personal Training. We were targeting childhood obesity at that time because that was running rampant about 2004, 2005. So we were working out with our main clientele were women and kids at that point. So then we were able to really tie in the training, the supplements, and then the metabolic VO2 testing with a dietitian on staff. So we just tried to create that whole one-stop shop for your average bodybuilder or your mom or kid, that they can come in and we can kind of get them squared away on supplements, training, plan, figure out where they were at. So, and that was back in 2004. So that was before
Yeah.
the University of Illinois created their facility and started doing the VO2 training and things. So we were right there on the edge of things before
Ahead
the
of your
economy
time.
collapsed.
Yeah.
But yeah, yeah.
Yeah. You guys were ahead of it. You guys were definitely ahead of it. So then in that time, you know, what would you say? You have a female comes in wanting a weight loss goal of 15 or more pounds. What, you know, they would come into you, GNC, whether it was GNC, Nutrition Network, Nutrition Outlet Center. What would it be? What would you say you would prescribe?
Well, the first thing that we always tried to figure
And
out
why?
is, what's your goal? What are you looking to do? And of course, the first thing they would talk about was pounds, which I would take that in consideration, because at the end of the conversation, I was converting them for wanting to have a certain weight loss goal in pounds to talking about the physical change when it comes to losing body fat, gaining muscle. So sometimes, showing them a picture of, if they didn't have a picture of where they used to be or what they wanted to be, I would pull up a magazine that we had in the stores. That's, of course, pre-internet. And thank you for that. And show them a picture of a fitness model and say, so what do you think she weighs? And they're like, oh, about 114. I'm like, no, she's about 135, because she has more muscle on her than body fat. You have to talk about that composition change. So once you get them to change their dynamic of not concerned more about weight and then more concerned about how their clothes fit or how their appearance was, then we could delve into diet, and then figure out what their negatives were on their diet, figure out how we can offset that. And of course, we try to change things with diet first and foremost, and then we could supplement the supplements, because those were supplementing what they weren't getting in from their diet. And so we just kind of changed the mentality. So the first thing that I always preached, because they're coming in, they're looking at these, bringing in these articles or talking about these fat burners, and you have to kind of regress and kind of regroup them. So once we got them to understand how it actually worked, then the first thing we talked about is, what are you missing from your normal diet? Because that's what we have to replace. You can take all the supplements and spend all the money on things that you want to take, but if you don't have the core ingredients of what the body needs to function, then you're going to be wasting money. So we have to talk about taking a multivitamin first and foremost, because you're not getting in the green foods and the nutrients that you need throughout the day. And then we have to move into, okay, so based on your fitness goals, we had to talk about the protein intake, the carb fat balance, and then we kind of got into that diet part of it. But once you understood their diet, then I felt like I could fill in the gaps with the supplements that we had. My main fear was that people were going to be buying all these supplements, spending money, not getting the results. Then they're falling off the wagon, and then you never see them again, and that hurts them. And as a business owner, it hurts you financially. So I just tried to give it to them straight, but changing their mindset.
So protein was usually the thing that people were missing.
Oh, most definitely.
Which is, again, more things change, the more they stay the same.
Yeah,
But then,
that's like number one.
And we do, Sarah, we have, I'm not going to say we're anti, the fat loss pills and energy boosters, pre-workouts and stuff like that. We don't prescribe them now like that, I guess. But back then you did, right? Because times were different a bit.
Yeah. So my theory on that was, I can help you get to where you want to go for your goals. I can help you do that. And the fat burner was going to accelerate that. So my conversation about fat burners was, do you need it? No. Are you paying to get there faster? Yes. So if you want to pay to get there faster, then once we get your diet squared away, now you can take this fat burner to increase your metabolic rate while you're at rest, and kind of help you do this at a faster rate. But that was the icing on the cake. But you have to have the cake first before you put the icing on it.
Right. So long as you're informed, then.
Well, right. I think a lot of people see even those old ads in the magazines that with some fitness model all ripped up, and it's got this, the red bottle one. I don't remember what it was, but I remember seeing that ad all the time, and they made it look like all you had to do is take this pill, and that's what you would look like. And it's like, there's a million other things that go into it than just taking a pill every day.
And we're seeing yesterday, the Google 1998, November 1998.
Yeah.
So before, like nowadays, you have, influencers. Like to your point, Sarah, like, if you're already lean and mean, you could make having a wet fart look sexy and smart. All right. Honestly, you could
Well,
attribute
yeah,
that to
because
anything.
all you would
Right?
get was the mag. I mean, at that time, when I started getting into fitness, it was like, I don't know, 2007 ish.
Hmm.
But even then, like the internet was not, fitness on the internet was not really a thing.
Right.
And even so, it was like bodybuilding.com, and all the models on bodybuilding.com were the
That's
same
what we were talking
models.
about yesterday.
Yes, and they were the same. The models on
Yeah.
bodybuilding.com
Yeah.
were
Yeah.
the same ones in all the magazines. So you had your like Jamie
Yep.
Eason, you had your Jesse
Yep.
Hilgenberg, you had all these models,
Hmm.
but they were the same no matter where you looked. Like there was no Instagram or Facebook to be following all these
Yep.
people. It was who it
Yep.
was, and it was the people who were winning competitions and doing all those things
Yeah.
to do what they had to do. You
Yep.
know?
Yep.
Yeah.
The more
It
things
was
changed,
it.
the more they stay the same. Because back then, you'd get certain magazines would be carried in certain stores,
Mm-hmm.
and you know how I didn't get this magazine in Target. I better get it at Meijer or something, whatever.
Yeah.
But they would put it. There's a reason why they would be there right at the kiosk at the end of the checkout stage, because you're not going to the book section and buying a bodybuilding magazine. It'll be the
Right.
last minute thing that you get. You know what? I should get this. And
Mm-hmm.
nowadays, what that's called is an algorithm.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So if you're new to it and you're trying to figure out, it's not a sign. It's not God telling you to pop this pill. It's just science and math. And Zuckerberg has figured out, based on your clicking habits, when and where to properly place somebody's ad that he paid to put in your face.
Yep.
Yeah.
If you think it's a sign, it's called guilt, because something ain't right inside. So the point is, again, back to what I said about Darnell's ability to build rapport. He was very, very rare back then in that he knew how to build rapport and trust immediately with you. Straight empathy, straight truth right away. And he was a diamond in the rough like that, because and GNC is normally they jump your ass the moment you walk in the door. It's almost irritating.
Yeah.
But he somehow found a way to make it not like that. And as I was explaining to Sarah Darnell before you hopped on, how your place, whether it was GNC, Nutrition Outlet Center, nutrition, wherever you were at, Fox, we would show up just to hang out, to be around that energy, because that was just who you were. Like, we all want to just hang out. Where you at? I'm at not my work, but Darnell's work, because he's working. Hey, I think he's lonely. I'm gonna go ahead and hang out, like as if we didn't have a life. You know what I mean? But so Darnell would be able to talk to you about whatever it is going on with you, and suggest based on numbers, statistics, data you gave him. Here's your goal. Here's the best supplement for that, if you're doing da-da-da-da-da. And that's kind of how he cut down to it. So he would support what he would suggest for you based on what would match up from a scientific, like a data standpoint. If protein does this, creatine does this, fat burners do this, BCAAs, multivitamins, they do this, this, and this. You say you're not doing da-da-da-da. Well, let's supplement what you are doing. Mm-hmm. And go from there. That's, at least looking back now as a grown up, that's what I believe you were doing. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong.
No, you're exactly right. Just kind of figuring out, where they're at on things, what their goals are, and then, helping them fill in those gaps. And that was the important part, because for me, it was about budget. You can break the bank and spend money on the top, 5 supplements that you read about in Muscle Fitness, and come in there and think that's what you need. But at the end of the day, my ending question was, here's where you start. Here's the supplements that you need in this order. Where does your budget fall in line? Like, how much do you want to spend a month on supplements? Because at the end of the day, if it's not a consistent thing, just like exercise, if it's not a consistent, you're not going to reach that goal.
Yep.
So figuring out where they were lacking, what we need to fill the gaps, and then what their budget wanted to be, and that kept them going. And I felt like if we could keep them going on a regular basis, they would come in, they would check in, sometimes not even to buy things. They would come in and check in and be like, hey, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm not seeing this, let's tweak that, send them out the door, and bring them back in. The supplements just felt kind of, were that acceleration product for them. So it kept them, they felt like if they were seeing success, then they would continue. And you know how that is as trainers, if they're not getting that success, then they start to question, their motivation, their skills. And sometimes you as a trainer, even though it's not up to you,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, you're bridging the gaps of the reality that the goals will change as you start seeing success. All of a sudden, when you
Yep.
burn everybody burns the first 5 to 8 really quick.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden you
Right.
start thinking, well, shit, maybe my goal wasn't 15, maybe it was 25.
Uh-huh.
And then all of a sudden you're able to do things physically from a strength standpoint that you didn't even think were possible. And now all of a
Hmm.
sudden you don't care about the weight anymore. Now you're trying to look and feel a certain way, which cannot be that feeling of success in performance and in the look in the eyes of the people around you cannot be quantified on a scale.
No.
Uh-huh.
It's just something that happens between you and you. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? And I think
Life
that's,
changing.
yeah, and that I don't think that part has really changed that much. The approach, I think what I learned from you, and I think a big reason why Sarah is so successful as my partner in doing this with me, is that she also had that natural ability to empathize. She knew when something wasn't right, and worked empathetically to figure out how to get there. So when you're talking about the prescription of
Mm-hmm.
supplements, unlike doctors, who, which is and this is not a knock against the medical field per se, but if there are medical pros out there, you know how to get a hold of us. I'd be happy to go with you toe to toe on some shit, no problem. Because we've got articles of dead kids from Ozempic because you people are doing shit wrong. But hey, I'm ready when you are. Anyways, I digress. From a prescription standpoint, it's about what is in your best interest, and the ulterior motive, really from a business standpoint should be, well, I want reoccurring business. I want you to refer. I want da da da. And we just accepted the fact that it was a byproduct of doing the right thing.
Yeah.
So if you're going to buy shit online, are you going to get it cheaper? Hell yeah. You're probably not going to be allowed to finish the bottle, but hey, that's cool, right? Because at the end of the day, people want in-person contact. That's why everybody went to Darnell, because they needed to feel the thing that Google cannot provide in a human
Mm-hmm.
experience. You know what I'm saying? And you're able
Yeah.
to do that wonderfully as well, sir.
Well, I think that's the main difference in, I remember walking into GNCs, and it was like they're right in your face the second you walk in the door. They ask you one question. Sometimes they don't even ask you a question. Whatever they have like on special up front is what they're trying to shove at you. And it's like, well, I walk out of there and I still don't know what I bought or why I bought it.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Right.
Or I walk
Right.
out of there just confused and annoyed that this person's trying to make me buy shit. And I don't even know what he's talking about. So I
Right.
think So I think the
Yeah.
main difference about what you said is the way that you talk to people first and say, and I think this is something that people need to take away 100%,
Yep.
whether they're getting supplements from us or magazines or the internet or GNC or wherever, is that you have to understand what you're doing and what you need and find what's missing in there, right? So like
Yeah.
if somebody walked into your store and was like, okay, so say it's a 165-pound female, she's eating well, she's working out every day, she's macro counting, and she just seems to be like stuck at a standstill. Like, what kind of questions would you ask her? What kind of supplements would you suggest that she try? Because I think that's
I
a
would
lot of
definitely
people
do.
listening.
I would do exactly what you said. You have to confirm what they're doing in
Hmm.
their normal daily lives, and it comes from, are you getting enough sleep? How are your meals spaced out throughout the day? What's the carb to protein balance? Are you getting enough protein in? You kind of figure out those things. But if they are doing those things correctly, then that's where I would look at, okay, let's look at the addition of something to help speed this process up. As long
Hmm.
as you're doing the right things, I'm okay with giving you that fat burner or giving you. However, when you look at those fat burning supplements, you have to cycles. You can't stay
Hmm.
on them forever. You need to get on. You need to get off. Getting on it will speed up the metabolism a little bit. Once you get off, you're counting on your metabolism to kind of keep
Hmm.
that rate a little bit higher.
Expectations.
Yes. And then once you get off of that supplement, and sometimes it'd be halfway through the bottle, that'd be like, okay, after this many weeks, get off, see how your body responds to it, and then we can cycle back on, because you don't want your body to rely on these things overall. The ultimate goal is to get our body to these positions where we're increasing the metabolism. So as long as they're doing the right things, I'm okay with adding these other supplements on top of it. But it's the fact of, you have these people who want to buy these things who aren't doing the right things at the ground level,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and they're just spending money. And I tell them, I'm like, I can take your money if you don't want to do these other things. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather at least you take them here, because next time you come back in, for your second or third bottle, and I tell you, no, I'm not selling it to you because I know you haven't cycled off. And their reaction is, well, I can just go online and buy it. I'm like, yes, you can do that, but at the end of the day, you're going to come back here and we're going to have to revisit these same questions about your diet and your lifestyle over again.
Yeah.
So let's just
Yes.
start at the beginning and let's get it done right.
Mm-hmm.
I like that.
And Darnell was surprised that I think you were too, weren't you, about multivitamins, Sarah? Not
That-
being on that list?
Yeah, I was super surprised about that.
But listen, again, I only went decade. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm sure over the years, a multivitamin in its various, I mean, shit, more than one vitamin is a multi technically, right? And as Darnell and I were talking yesterday, the brand is what is going to take hold of the loyalty and command in the marketplace. It's in terms of the competition ladder, right? You got a place called One a Day, sells easy, men's one a day, women's one a day. I mean, it's pretty cut and dry. Like, people think that's enough, and maybe for your everyday person, it is. But people forget calories are expensive. You burn quick if you're trying to get it in workout wise. You're going to burn them. You have to replace that shit. Yeah. Okay, and while VO2 max tests, were something that is still done, and yes, very, they're reliable, and you can count and get the information that you need and learn where your fat burning zones are. If you're not eating the right way with real food, stuff like that's not going to matter. I mean, like Darnell said, I got this one from him too about you. Your mama wasn't lying when she said eat your fruits and veggies. There's a reason for that shit. You know what I'm saying? I don't care who you are. Broccoli always going to be good for you. Fuck out of here.
Right. May not have known why, but yeah, come to find out the science behind it.
Ain't nobody ever said, man, I mean all this broccoli and I'm weak. Nah, you know what I'm saying? Those are the same people who never broke a bone. You know what I mean? They're healthy on at least some level. You know what I mean? So creatine, though, however, that's one that was back in the day, especially because of how it was delivered in terms of marketing. Creatine was a thing that was, I think, for a very long time considered a bulking supplement.
Yeah, I think that's one. I don't think I ever took that. But I don't know. Maybe it's just because I'm a girl, and so that was like one of the. It was probably more used by dudes than
because it was in the magazines for bulking. Is why.
Yeah, that's probably true. It wasn't in my magazine.
All right, and it was used. That's how it was mainly. Once. BCAAs and liver pills and things of that sort, it went from that when creatine came out, that was the new catch. And of course, they promoted in the bodybuilding magazines and, the conversion to ATPs for muscle energy, but they were using more as a strength supplement. And then as we started digging into it, we were like, okay, well, so how does this work? And then there was a loading phase that you have to do with creatine. You take 30 grams a day for like 5 days to load it into the system. And then you could go down to 5 to 10 grams a day, 5 before the workout, 5 after. And that was the monohydrate form when it first came out. But, we were actually in my shop, I was telling my employees, I'm like, this is something that in smaller amounts, that even, anyone can take for that muscle energy. So then we started promoting it and selling it to women, and had to offset the stereotype of it being used as a weight gain supplement, because at first people were gaining water weight from it, from the monohydrate form. But then we had to change the delivery of it. I mean, it's found in red meat. You're just not eating enough of it to get the creatine levels that you need. So there again, we're supplementing in things that can help. That your body's
the loading phase
accustomed
is
to.
a big reason why people were just getting not bloated, but when you're filled with all of that intercellular water, there's a reason why you're not crapping out during the workout. That's what it does, and it helps not to, you're not cramping during, you're not breaking down as fast. You're able to have some real longevity. The issue is folks were getting it confused and taking that, the loading phase was just too much when your body already produces it. That's why it's just the healthiest supplement overall to take daily. 3 to 5 milligrams a day keeps the doctor away, period. You know what I'm saying? But people back then, women were taking creatine and then the fat burners and the same shit without drinking the water to do anything. You know what I mean? Like, PBR is not going to be enough to hydrate the body, ladies. I'm telling you, White Claw, whatever y'all drink, it's just not enough. You know what I'm saying? I'm taking this powder because I'm gonna be able to do a pull-up for the first time. I'm gonna pop this pill so I can fit into my size negative, like for the first time fucking ever. You know what I mean? It's not gonna happen. So like again, the supplement, they don't replace. There's no miracle drug or pill.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Nothing.
And
There are surgical procedures. It seems to be the thing nowadays. If you don't like the way you look, my oh my, there's a surgery for that.
That's true.
Is an easy fix, which sometimes isn't easy when you look at the side effects and things that come from it.
And if it's easy, it's probably wrong.
Yeah. Jeez.
Yeah.
But protein, you know, the shocker here, I think the main takeaway is creatine notwithstanding, protein is still in the top 3, I think, of every over-the-counter supplement, whether it's fitness or general health and vitality, because that's the one thing that is just not getting in people's diets on a day-to-day basis.
Mm-hmm.
You know, period.
Well, I tell people all the time when we're going through nutrition stuff, like when you're planning for like a party that you're going to or for a night out at a restaurant or something, load up on protein throughout the day at home because it's really easy to find carbs and fat just about anywhere. Protein is the one that is almost impossible to find, and it's in so many things, but it's so hard to get in because all these processed foods and the way that things are prepared, it's like carbs and fat are the main things that you find in just about anything.
And back in the day, D, you were saying a lot of the females were just overloading on the carbs. And I think that's where the stigma came from.
Yeah,
no,
came
carbs
from the 80s, 90 era where, you know, carbs, even the stars at that time were taking a lot of carbs and it was a high carb diet. And then all of a sudden we went to the low carb Atkins.
What?
And, you know,
why?
If you pull up, it's just fads and misunderstanding of nutrients. I mean, if you pull up pictures of stars in the 80s, you're going to see the rounder faces. They're a little bit heavier. And then once you got into, I'd say probably early 90s, then people started leaning. Atkins came out, and then it was over. I mean, low carb, high protein. Well, they didn't care what type of meat. I mean, it could be fried. You could eat fried chicken. You know, take the skin off, and that was part of the Atkins diet. You know,
you're okay with the fat, but not the carbs. But but see, people were bombing. The reason why it got a bad rap is because folks were eating carbs, right? But they weren't exercising. They're taking all the fuel and not doing shit with it. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I think it's interesting too the way that it cycles through because the high carb diets were big back then it crashed and nobody's having carbs. Now, almost every single nutrition client we take on, we're like, you need to eat more carbs. Now it's kind of cycling back to being like, no. That's like, that doesn't work forever. You have to figure this out.
And that's where the people want to take the pre-workouts instead of natural complex carbs to give them energy throughout the day. And that's like, listen, if you want to be the Hulk for an hour, go ahead.
But if you want to see like results over time that are going to stay with you, then you need to have some carbs in your diet too.
Right.
Goodness.
In order to replace it. So, at the end of the day, once again, the more things change, the more they stay the same.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
You got to have the right routine to supplement. Yep. Or it won't work long term. Now, with that said, Darnell asked me last night, he said, I have a question for you. How do you, stop being the bad guy? Because my approach was not the data and the numbers. My approach was, I don't give a shit about your goal. I care about why you want the goal. I care about the accountability. I care about the reasons behind that, the facts. Like Darnell and like you, Sarah, you guys are both, you're empathetic, you're knowledgeable, and you're there to, now I'm not going to say nurture, but nurture in a way. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I don't want to say that I'm not, I'm a girl dad. I have to know how to nurture on some level, right? Mm-hmm. But to me, my ulterior motive is not necessarily the business, because I think anyone who's been with Commit long enough knows I don't raise prices. I don't gouge. I've never pushed a sale on any damn body ever. Mm-hmm. That's been with me ever. I don't care if it was a Krista CCD. I don't care if it was buying a copy of a TV show I was on or whatever. No, I've never pushed a sale on shit. I want to have a place in your memory as somebody who was on your side, right, and who's going to help you not be a pussy about something, because it's okay to be afraid. but it's not okay to stay afraid.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So that is when you talk about prescriptions, that's the thing right now. You got to go to a trusted source. And I think our big reason, Darnell, that we're so, I mean, it's cool now on social, people talk about, give away your information. Gary V, Alex Hormozy, give away, give away, give away. It's free. Don't hang on to it. Da, 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 da. But yeah, I get the reverse psychology behind that, and how that sounds in terms of a law of marketing, the law of candor, immutable law of marketing. Okay. But at the same time, our motive behind that is we're just trying to help. And we're going to give you the shit that matters for free. Since we can't give you the results for free.
Yeah.
We can give you the help for free. The guidance is different. Sure. That's the job. I mean, we got,
right.
You ain't the only poor motherfucker here. You know what I mean? We all got mouths to feed. You know what I'm saying? But to be able to do the right thing, the motive is to be on the right side of things when shit goes down. And we're the source. So if you're getting your information from, I don't even know if they still make bodybuilding magazines. Maybe they do.
They do that for $20.
Oh my God. So if you're getting your information from Walmart or, online, and you don't want to go into a supplement store, then message us. Go anonymous if you want. Call from a blocked number. Doesn't matter. Just we'll give you what we know, the best that we know it. Whether you work with us or not, makes no difference.
Yeah.
At the end of the day.
Yeah, we have a ton of resources like that too. I was just talking to somebody before we got on here. It's been working out and not seeing stuff, and I gave her a bunch of guides on. We have all of our podcasts on all of our macronutrients. We've got fat loss guides. And they literally spell out the methods that we use with our custom clients. So there's always a way to find it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It has to be a reputable source. I mean, nowadays we had the magazines to deal with, and then the internet came, and now you have the social media, and everyone's pushing this latest and greatest, and this did this for me, and things of that sort. When it comes down to it, that nothing really beats that one-on-one, that face-to-face, if you can. But just, the trust factor in it, because there's a lot to weed through now. As good as the internet is for knowledge and supplements and getting, the word out there about the latest and greatest, it's the ratio of good to bad. It's so easy to get caught up in, seeing these ads that this product does this for you, and you go out and buy it, and then you get this nice little energy kick from it because it's a ton of caffeine or whatever the case may be. And then you don't get the results, and then you get frustrated. And that's not the lifestyle that a good trainer, a good supplement person would want, from you. They want to see you succeed. They want to see those results. And it's about finding someone who's going to look out for your best interest on both levels, the exercise and the supplements, to get you to that goal. And those are walking billboards for you. And that's where I think it really catapulted my business at that time, because when people trust you and they have a good experience, they're going to go and tell, other people about it. And they're a walking billboard for you. So the quick fix, the quick dollar in the pocket, that's not going to be, there's no longevity behind that. You have unhappy people, and then they bottom out, and that's it. I mean, so I think what you guys are doing is great. It's perfect. It's an extension of how it should be done, on all levels, looking out for their best interest and giving it to them straight. And that's one thing that, I appreciate, whether it's like Sarah and I in a more compassionate way, or Chris as in, like here it is, no chaser. It's the truth, and we have to have that in today's market. Otherwise, it's going to be hard. It's like when people come in and talk to me about building, buying a house, I tell them, we have to stay within your budget. We have to get the inspections done. We got to go through the steps and the processes to make sure this is an enjoyable experience for you. And you get, at the end, you get that prize, you get that goal, whether it's, to be able to fit in those pants that you couldn't wear, or whether it's, getting keys to a house. It's all just the good guidance that you guys are given. So kudos to that.
And you're able to build a longevity behind it by painting the picture that they may not be able to see past that one listing. Like, it's not like it's cool that if rates drop, that's awesome. And today's market is nuts. Even if rates dropped, it still comes down to, it's not necessarily what the bank will approve you for. It's what you can afford at the end of the day. Because the last thing you want is to be house poor. I think we've all been there.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So like, you being able to say that to people and say, listen, there's a good chance you'll get approved for this. But
doesn't mean you should.
If you want this, here's what it could look like. Let's walk around this place. Let's really take this in. This could be the room for the kids. This could be this entire half of the house is going to be the one that'll more than likely be left unfinished because this is probably a bad decision.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the pills. Like, you can probably take this pill. You'll feel good now. But as soon as the insomnia and the headaches come, you're going to get off the pills. And guess what? It gets worse because now you got withdrawal. And there's no refinancing withdrawal. You're just going to have to knuckle up and take it.
Yeah. Right? And in this day and age, whether it's AI or some computer being, auto accepted for some loan or whatever, I think that the personalization of things has really taken a dive. And it's super important for everybody listening or watching this to understand that when you are dealing with something as serious as the things that you're putting into your body and all the effort you're putting into your goals, where you're putting your hard-earned life savings of money, like
the home you want to build.
Yes, you need to understand. You need somebody who understands you enough to help guide you in the right direction if you don't know what you're doing.
Yes. Yeah.
To make informed decisions.
It's something you're never taught, and fitness and nutrition, I think they're getting better about that in some cases in some schools and things of that sort, but it's that lifestyle behind it, it's giving them that right direction and understanding their goals and what makes them happy, at the end of the day. And that's something that I think in this industry, in the fitness industry, you get an opportunity to provide that for people, to take them from what they assume to what is real. And then to reach that goal, and nothing feels better than that.
Yeah.
Clients and customers will be the first to tell you, well, what's the best? What's my price? I can find it cheaper elsewhere. I've got options. Well, Darnell once told me, you're only as faithful as your options. So let me put it to you like this. We know that. Okay. Let me tell you something. We know that, which is why we're not pushing for it, because we're going to tell you this. And our answer will be straight and direct because it's truth and it comes from the right place. You can take it or leave it because there's always going to be another Glenda. Okay. There will never be another one like us who will give it to you straight and hold ourselves accountable, because at the end of the day, if the person selling you the supplement or selling you the home or helping you in that life-changing decision doesn't have skin in the game, like you need to pump the brakes a bit and think about it. Why are you telling me this?
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? What's the catch here? What's if it's too good to be true? Let me tell you something. It probably is.
Yep. Yeah.
There ain't no such thing as a wife that good looks and cooks and cleans. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I don't mean that per se. I love you, woman, wherever you're at. I'm just, but Okay. Anyway, so.
I didn't have a white flag to wave, so that's the best I could do.
All right. So, I mean, Darnell, thank you for your time.
Appreciate it. Appreciate the opportunity.
Yes,
love what
thanks
y'all
for
are doing
coming on.
there, and my pleasure. I love watching you guys. I love to see what you guys are doing and the projected image that you guys are giving out there for the fitness industry and continuing that. So it's great to see.
I appreciate you. Same to you, my friend. Good luck.
Yep.
All right. Sarah, nice to see you. Chris, love you, bro. Talk to you soon.
See you, brother. Love you, man.
All right.